Slow down your mind, slow down these days, slow down these moments. I'm slipping away. It's a river, one way, gone in a moment, set in stone, but still in flow. We're only here for a while. Yeah, we're only here for a while. Yeah, we're only here
Check 1, 2.
for a while.
Well, hi, good morning, and well, good morning Singapore time anyway. Welcome to the third day. I'm actually losing track of the days. Is this day 3? I have a suspicion that I'm missing the days or making the days, messing the days up. Oh, I know what it was. Yes, okay. I was supposed to start on Monday, but that first day I couldn't quite get on because of YouTube's rules. That's what it was. So there you go. So this is day 3. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, what is this? Well, it is me trying to do something which a lot of people say is impossible, right? The idea of being able to trade $100 to $1 million, and the mission is to do it in 100 days. I'm behind schedule right now, to be honest. So in terms of what I want to be doing and what I hope to be doing by now on day 3 is to be several dollars ahead of the game. I am not those dollars ahead of the game. In fact, what we are is just about even in terms of where we started, right? Because wins and losses, all that kind of stuff. I have the final number here from yesterday, and it literally is just a couple of cents different from the day before. Really, about that close. So here's your big CNN graphics for how things have been going so far. This is how the price has been going. Let me just go into the smaller one so you can see that as well. Sorry. Here we go. Too much animation. Yeah. There you go. So nothing much has really happened. This is just perspective. It looks like it's growing. I'm going to change this because this is not actually a very, I don't think it's a good representation, because there's been no real growth from yesterday to, or at least from the day before to yesterday. And it looks on this chart that it has, but that is wrong, because it really is not representative at all. So maybe what I'll have to do is change the way we do that graphically so that you can see a little bit more from the side what it actually looks like. which is a fair representation. I don't think we should be trying to make it look better than it is. This is not politics. I'm not in the business of trying to make things seem better than they are. And that's, take whatever you want from that. I'm not trying to give you any other reason to get upset or whatever it is. But that's more like it actually. That's really what it looks like. So not great, but not the end of the world either. So because what we're trying to do is we're trying to trade our way to the point we can do something more spectacular. And as we get to the higher levels of balance, I guess that's the way we can say that, it's going to allow us to do more, right? And only if that happens can we do that. Right now, I'm trying to call up the. There we go. I'm trying to call up the chart in the background as well. Having trouble with that. I don't know why it's not showing up. Oh, I know where it is. There we go. There we go. All right, so you can see that now. Yeah, so day 3, the plan basically is to compound over and over again. The idea is to do it right, repeat, do it right, repeat, do it right, repeat. So the discipline part of it is actually a very significant part of why the plan is going to work, right? This plan is going to be based on strong discipline because we need to make those choices, the right choices, whenever we make those choices, right? A good trade is a trade that follows the rules of the strategy, looks at the reasons that you would, perhaps get into a trade, and keeps those rules, right? Because what we're trying to do is create the environment, the mathematical environment for the compounding to happen. So, as long as I keep on strategy, which is a strategy that is very particular about the entries, right? And at the same time, I work on money management, which basically means that I cannot take a trade which has, even if it looks like the right setup, but it has, there's too much risk on the table. I also have to step away from that because that's not matching the plan that we have. So, yeah, so that's the big challenge right now. So, welcome to my life. It's as I mentioned before on the channel, this is a commitment device for me. It's for me to be accountable to myself so that I will look at what I do and go like, okay, was that a right move? Was that a wrong move? Okay, so let's do this. First of all, I'm going to start by clearing the deck. We need to clean up and start charting again just to make sure that we have a really clean idea of what we are looking at in terms of a chart. And let's review, as I should, what the day has been like. So what's happening right now is this is the long-term chart. This is H4, which means every one of these candles is actually a 4-hour candle. And the story so far has been one where you can see that the price has been moving, but not very significantly, as in like the price has been moving up like that. It's kind of made a new high in terms of it's broken the previous level. Not made a new high, sorry. It's broken the previous level. And what it looks like it's doing right now is doing a bit of a pullback consolidation. And if the trend is anything to go by, it should be pushing on its trend to move forward like that, right? That's the long-term outlook in terms of where things look like currently, at least to me. And we also have to think about what's going on in the current moment as well when we look at it in terms of what is the smaller time frames, right? So this is the big picture here. It still seems to be in an uptrend, even though if you look at it now, we're going to look at the smaller scales, and we're going to see that there's still this continuing theme that we had from yesterday, which is a little bit of a down movement as well, as in like this market is still in this process of pulling back. So there is a downtrend in the shorter time frames just for now, ever so slightly. It's not a strong trend at all, so it might as well be a kind of range. Like I said, a range with a flavor on the downside. We had this build up yesterday, which was a little bit of excitement because that that's always quite interesting when prices are moving up, moving up, moving up, moving up, moving up. But we did have a big news day yesterday, and that's probably played a part in this as well, because that level and that change from yesterday happened in relation to that piece of bit of news. It doesn't mean necessarily that the news itself was the reason that the price went down. It's just that every time the market wants to make a move, the market makers, what they're doing is they're looking for an excuse for it to happen. Now, to be clear, what that means is that all price, for it to be motivated correctly. So, like if you think about if you watch a movie or you watch a play and you see an actor move from one part of the room to another, there is something called motivation, right? And when it's real and very comfortable and it makes sense, you don't think there's anything wrong or unnatural about it, and so it just is a move that is well motivated, right? So the same kind of applies for price as well, right? If you are in the market and you are either a bull or a bear, so bull, you want the price to go up, bear, you want the price to go down, for whatever the reason might be for yourself. If the price is just going to go down because I say so, yeah, it's one sort of motivation. You can say, yeah, the bulls and bears have their agenda and the price is going down, yeah, whatever it is, right? That is without as much motivation, and therefore the price's stability and the trend may not be as strong, right? So if you can move something in a way that's well motivated, as in like if the news that comes out, right, looks bad, or the news that comes out looks good, whatever that might be, and that causes that initial motion, that push, right, where the idea is supported by what the news has been, then your move that comes out of that is actually a well motivated move. So it has credibility. It's something that has a chance of being a real movement, at least for a while. And all these trades tend to be about movements for a while because you can make some money. There's always going to be these very, very big, broad themes as well when you step further back from the market. But day to day, there's a whole bunch of people who want to make some money for their clients professionally, day to day, week to week, month to month. So people with different time frames, different needs are doing stuff like this. The people who are making trades based on trying to secure the wealth of their family, in the long term, people who are trying to secure the wealth of their nations, right? So gold does come up here. And if you think about what people are trying to position themselves for as well, it's that besides the US dollar, which is a big trading standard, you are also trying to position yourself in terms of gold, because gold is also a wider value, a wider storage of value, right? And if there is any kind of fluctuation so far, right, the world's been able to kind of agree on at least that gold is, valuable and it's rare and all those other things. So that's the thing that we're looking at right now. We're just making sure that we are on track. I'm trying to see what the trend currently is so that I can make the right kind of move, and what the story has been so far. The first thing that we need to do is, of course, look at levels, right? So the levels are basically where the price has changed from positive to negative, right? Where there's a strong one. So I'm going to mark out one level here, and I'm going to mark it out as a solid line as well. These are the 1 hour marks, right? I think it's important for that. And there's been another strong level here. And that's going to be there. Oops. Okay. So this second candle here hasn't fully formed a new level yet. So I'm just going to leave that back. I'm drawing the line based on what's happened before that. So again, could this be a play like yesterday, a little bit like yesterday, where there's a bit of a range forming? Well, that's one theme that we can see here in terms of this morning so far. Price has stayed within a certain range. But the other theme that I think you can see as well is that there's been some movement in terms of the price, and this was after yesterday's announcement, so that the price has moved in a downward manner. There's a little bit of that going on. Okay, there is this breakdown as well. We had, I'm trying to put this in here. Yeah, we had a breakout, and this breakout when and basically broke the low of this this whole thing that's been going on for days, right? So that level was held for days. It broke down like that, and now it's pulled back, come up, and then it's pushed down again like this. So currently, because we are trading what we see, I am on a downward bias because the ranges that we're looking at are okay. So we have on the H4 little bit of a downward movement. You see the engulfing candles where you can see them. You know, the engulfing bear candles are pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. So there's a step ladder thing happening in terms of H4. H1 we just talked about as well. You can see all that very clearly. And I don't think you have to do much more of an argument to see that that is really the prevailing trend. If you can see it on the 4s and 1s, it's going to show on the lower ones as well. What you can see on the lower ones is mini trends that may be erupting in the opposite direction as a part of the big story, right? Because you're going to have the big huge wave, and within the big huge wave, you're going to have some movements as a regular part of the market. So my bias is now for, I would say, a sell. We're looking for a movement to the downside, a good excuse for it. What has happened so far, and what I seem to like is the movement that has happened, which is basically the price has come down, broken down like that, and now it's pulling back up this way. And then we've had this kind of rejection of the price from the high heading down as well. So we can see that if I look at the lower time frame. Oh, actually, not the lower time frame. You can see that on the 1 hour chart here, right? So this is a pretty strong version of the story because it's the H1 chart, because it's pushed down so hard, made a new low, gone up, made a new high, but there's a rejection from that height. The story is pretty strong in terms of a downward push after this. And so that's where my bias is, and that's now where I am positioning myself or trying to find the position to get in on this particular situation. So the price has already done a bit of a pullback here. It may not pull back anymore. It may have done the work already. Yeah, so it's stuff like this where you can see that the price tends to go back. It tests the levels that it was that was relevant for it, you know, in the past, and it says it wants it's going to make its move. So this is about 400, and this actually is an okay position to take a trade. I think we can. Yeah, we're a bit late on it, but it's not too huge. It would have been nicer to be further up here and just taking it off the initial bounce of the line like that. But we're not too far off. I think we're still within striking range of this. This is a 4% risk. And what I'm going to do is just make sure that I'm checking my rules as well, that we're still doing this. It's off the major lines. That technically is still true, right? It's off this line here. This trade is actually based on that. I've got a few other things corroborating this as well. This price went down, bounced. It's still heading in this direction. It's gone through a bit of a rejection here. You can see the head and shoulders pattern up here. It's pushed down like that, and then now it's done this retest coming back up. And we'll see what happens in this little formation here. This is, again, you always think about it in terms of the smaller candles, the small behaviors within the big move. And we have to be careful about what the implications are in a larger context, right? So you have to hear all the stories, and all the little stories actually tell you about what the micro intentions are in the market, right? Because these are all footprints. What you actually see right now, for instance, when you're looking at the fives, let's just pull this here so you can see that. Is you can see that there is some action here in terms of the highs, the lows, so to speak, at this point seem to have a bit of a story going on as well, right? So while you've had this big push down like that, this is in context of these rising lows as well. So the two stories at war, I guess, if you can think about it this way. And that's where you have to kind of square the circle. That's the worst term possible, but you have to try to figure out what's happening as well and where to position it. So the opportunities in something like this actually are, if you have a good, strong situation where the market is pushing in a certain direction, is you could probably take a position that goes with the market, right? Like right now, so if I'm talking about what might work for now, if I'm just considering the small market, is actually a continuation of this trend, because the first rule is that trends tend to continue, right? So this trend is going to tend to continue. It's going to tend to want to carry on. This is the short-term trend, which is what you call an uptrend, right? And little things that sort of say that this could happen as well. And if with the right amount of risk, I might be able to take a position here again. That's going to be a calculation that's going to be based on, well, okay, if I take a slight position here as on the uptrend, where would this go so that it makes sense, right? So if I take a position now, the risk would be down here at 154 points. But where can I predictably aim for the high of this? There's not much room to go. So there's only about, again, another, yeah, it's only 160, whatever it is. It's not a very high probability trade. There's a chance it could work, but just because there's a chance doesn't mean you go and take the trade, because it's not super high, right, in terms of what the likelihood of things is. So yeah, so in this particular situation, yeah, I can tell that there is this propensity for the market to move up. It's still moving up. It's not broken down yet. We've had this pressure of a push down from here, and if we had participated perhaps a little bit earlier, that would be okay to try to do a sell there. At this stage, though, there's nothing of an opportunity without risk. So we're trying to, well, there's never anything without risk, but we're trying to get in on it with as little risk as possible. So at this point, um, the sell actually seems to be the better story because of what the bigger story is in combination with what we've seen so far. So the big story is here uh, is the series of highs are kind of like pushing down as well. And let me see if I can get in on this. Okay, so this is going to be the challenge. Do we get in on this and take the risk that goes along with that, which is a little bit bigger than I would like, or maybe just treat it as a 1.75 thing. And if you've been noticing as well, in terms of the music that I put on at the start of the trading session, I keep trying to do it so that I play a piece of music that reminds me that it's always about slowing it down, right? There's no compulsion to absolutely get in and do it at that particular time. So that's the thing that I'm working with right now. At present, where is the price? The price has come down to what we call a significant level. And this is where earlier today there's been action at this price level already. And it's a significant level because it's a flip of the market, right? It's gone from going up to going down to going up to going down. So that level there, this is on this chart here, that level here is actually significant. So we're at this level currently right now as well. So in terms of real time, we're coming down to this level as well. And because of that, even though we've had this sign of it coming down like this right now, we have history to say that we need to chill and see what's going to happen next, right? Because literally what's coming down to right now, it's a level, a major level where just recently it has changed directions, going up pretty strong as well. So it's not an insignificant place for the price. So if we took a sell right now, it will be into the face of probably what is going to be some sort of support, which is not the best kind of move, right? Because it's risky. The price wants to move down. This is what I can see, but I can see that until very recently, the price has bounced up from there as well. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be a little bit of a skirmish, right? Or potential for a little bit of a skirmish. All we are trackers. We don't know exactly what has happened. So we can't exactly say. So what we can do now, for instance, is try and do some analysis and just to put it out like this. This analysis, by the way, is not tremendous simply because there is a break in the market of about an hour. So this data is a little bit shifted. But here is one way to look at this, right? It's gone up. There's a bit of an uptrend, and there's a push down, and then this trend line has been broken. The price has come down, and it's come back to test the line again and go on. So this if we look at this way, like that, and we use the bodies of the candles. So this is what we try to do. Yeah, the story so far has been this, right? So the price has gone up through the trend. It's followed the trend. It's broken down past, and out of the trend. It's gone up to test the trend, and then it's coming down again. So this is the story so far. Looks like a good enough story. And the only reason why we are not going to buy that story so far is because of the level, right? And that level is the level that's been set up at this level here. So this is where all the actions been set up before. And you can see that there's a little bit of pressure here for the price to actually stay up. So that's in conflict with what's been happening just before that. So if you look at what's happening just before that, it seems to be, okay, well, the trend's pushed down, and so it should be going down. But when you look at the details of the movement, especially here where you see the turnaround like that, and it's not a complete candle yet, so we can't call it yet. But that is higher than the previous low, right? So there's a little bit of a hint that there is a higher level of support now than at this particular point where there was a turn. So this bit here, this is the low earlier on the 15th, and here we can see it's kind of like bounced up but held at a higher level. So there's a little bit of a thing happening here. It's not a shoe-in for the push down, because this level, this line that we're considering right now, is turning out to be a significant level. The ghost of H1 past, if you like, lives on. It's where the market had decided earlier that the price was going to change. So again, remember we're looking at essentially the battle for the market, right? This, just because we see that there's a trend of some kind, it doesn't mean that there are no other people interested in the market. There are people who are interested in this market, who want to have this market go up north as well. They want it to push up. They want to break out of this downward trend, and they want to see the price of gold go up. Okay, they're probably, like gold investors, whatever it is, hedgers. That's where they would like the price to go. And if they had it their way, it would be going that way. But they don't have it completely their way, because that's how a market works. Buyers, sellers, and the control depends on who has more power. So currently, again, what it looks like is it's to me, because of the H1, pretty strong on the downside in terms of a sell. In terms of the smaller details here, there seems to be an effort to push up. Something still looks like it's mysteriously, not letting it push down like this. I'm just gonna go through here. I am very close to doing a sell, and I think what I'll do is I'm gonna take a sell if if these next few candles work out well as well. I'm gonna take a sell with a small risk on this. I'm not going to take the whole level back up to there, because that's it's a big risk for the account, so I don't want to do that. But I'm going to take a small risk down here, because I think I can, and there's enough potential of it to be pushing through here. So let's do this right now. This is a sell, and it's a small sell. I mean, all the cells are small right now because of our account size. But that's the risk that we're putting down here. So it's a 2% risk, and the target currently, the potential at least, is until here. This is not a very ambitious target for now. That's the first sort of place that we think that I think something can happen. And if it matures a little bit more, might take a bit more of a risk here, because again, the rule is I can take up to 5% for the trade, and if it's looking good, then that is the move that I should be doing, right? So at this point, I'd say, because of the H1 movement, the chart, and where it's going, because of the overall trend, the overall push down, all those things, I'm quite interested or invested in this trade going in this particular direction. So the risk currently with 2%, I'm happy to take a bit more of a position in this right now. I am just going to look out for what possibly might be a bit of a sale on the price, right? So as in like this thing is pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. And again, there's going to be a wave, a little bit of a wave that comes back. And if we can catch it on the up wave, a little bit of a bounce back, pull back, we make a little bit, we get a little bit of a discount, if you like, on the price. So we don't pay the full premium. We take a little bit of a discount. And what I mean by that when we talk about the premium is that when a market shows you what it's going to do, and then it pulls back a little bit, that is a discount on the premium. The premium is seeing what the market is going to do and then paying the price for that. You go like, okay, now you've shown me the cards. It's like if you can make a bet in poker or something else where you're on the outside and you can see where it's going, and you can see that there are 3 cards out and 2 cards are matching, and this is as a person on the side. When you have gone that far, now it and then you put a bet. That's kind of getting that is getting a bit of an insight to where the odds are going to fall for you, right? And the thing is, at that point, it's going to be expensive because, so much information is out there already. So, like now, I am going to add another position here because I think what's happened is we're on track with the trade that we had previously. We're still within the rules, which is going to be about having a maximum of 5% risk. The second trade's been open now, and the risk is another 1.5, less than 2%. Yeah, so that's why I am looking at this as a potential place to go in with a bit of risk. Now, I could be just going too tight on this and live to regret this, because there's a way that the market likes to just clear its throat, and I'm about to get hit, I think. So let's do this. I'm just going to move that up to there. So what have I done? I'm still within the 5% because it's really that tight. I've basically just moved my stop to where this wick has been before. And if it gets to that level, I'm completely wrong. I'm out. Unfortunately, that's going to be the story of this particular session. But no, I think overall there still is a story for a sell. So the thing is, even if I get ejected from this right now, I am still going to be biased towards the sell side on this particular move, right? So again, why to be biased on that particular side of things? Is the overall price movement, the big rejection from on the H1 side, right? There is, look, the way gold works, that there is quite a bit of there is toing and froing, right? There is what the market is going to do. This is going to push back, and it might take me out. And what I'm going to do, I am going to do. Okay. I'm going to hold this up here like that. Just above this level like that, to give myself a bit of room for at least where this thing might go. And this is going to be, yeah, I was going to say expensive when it gets back and pushes back like that. Okay, well, that's it. Like I said earlier, this is the sign that I was worried about, where it was coming up like that. And still, though, I was thinking about the bias coming down. So we'll have to wait. I think the push up isn't quite done yet, even though this big kind of push down happened earlier. So let's see. Small loss, right on track, 5%. So again, this is about playing it at scale, right? What happens when you do it over and over again? This level, still a level from before where prices have bounced from. And we'll see whether it retains its credibility, right? That's a nice push off like that, for instance. For me, even on the 1 minute chart like this, because it's such a small risk at this point and how close it is right now, I'm actually willing to just go in there and take a position like that, because I would have taken it just a bit earlier as well. But that little bit like that, small risk, because of what's happened before and because of the sign that came off of that as well like that, I'm looking at this as a pretty okay place to take a sell. I was actually trying to, was going to pull the trigger at a little higher prices now, but the market had already moved a little bit like that, right? So 1%, and this is the part where I have to resist. I want to add some more to this. What I'll do is I will add a position here where if it comes up, it'll come up, and yeah. So what I'm doing here is, just in case this market bounces up a little bit, where I think it might, I might be able to take another slice of this, right, without taking a very large risk. So it's going to be a very small, it's a small risk based on a little bit of a pullback, right? So if it comes up there and it loads me up with just about a 1% risk in a trade, which again I think has the potential to go quite a bit. It's not a bad price, and I'm quite happy with that, right? At this point, we've had the downtrend, the push down. We've had this previous high. We had the level. We've had this signal here where it's pushed back from that same price as well. So that combination of behavior just gives us a clue about what the market is like, what is behaving, what it feels like in this area. And what we're trying to do is like a tracker that's following an animal. We're going to see what its behavior is like. If we're going to see this, this might be tantalizing, right, as it gets really close. I think it's just going to give us that. Oh, maybe it won't. Yeah, let's keep it simple. If it comes up and I get the trade, then we will we'll celebrate. But right now it's just tantalizingly just hanging around, futzing around. Will it come up and try and just do a little bit of a push up? This is like, yeah, we'll see. I think we're gonna get this trade. I think this is gonna be a second sell that's gonna come in. And it's again what I hope I'm seeing correctly in the market. The fact that it doesn't get up should be also reason to celebrate, because if it does push up, then it really has more energy on the upside. I'm just hoping that there's a little bit of pushback so I can get a nice discount on the sell there. And like I said, the size of it means that the size of the stop loss just means that there's a really, really small risk to add on to that. So I'm not terribly unhappy about it if I get the trade, and I have to be also happy that I don't get the trade, because it just means that the trade is moving, that the position I've taken in the first place seems to be right. The price seems to be moving away from there. It got really close, desperately close, but it's okay. So the loss right now, or the stop loss is 2%. Do I want to add something else more to this? No. Let's do this. Bring it a bit closer. I think that could be reasonable. Okay. So I'm stubbornly trying to get into this position without spending too much or putting too much risk down, right? So right now, all I've got is a risk of 2%. And what I've done is I've positioned a sell in such a way that if the price pops up for just a bit, I can get in on I can double the position for just half the risk, right? Half the risk in terms of the amount of money. So there's risk, and that's separate from probability, right? So what the trade-off is that as you have a higher probability, right? As something moves against you, when the price moves against you, the probability of the trade going in the right direction has actually dropped, right? So if you think about it, if I want to go that way, right? If I want to go forward, but the price has come back, in that moment when the price has come back, the probability that my trade is still going in that direction has actually dropped somewhat, because what it means is that there's a bit of confirmation about the opposite of what I want to do happening. So that's probability, right? And we're always trying to stack up probability as much as we can. And separate from that is risk, right? So risk is what happens if this is wrong. So that's how you have to think about. That's how I have to think about this. But when I'm doing this right now, by the way, this is again me reminding myself I am here to talk to myself so that I can stay disciplined and on the trade. Risk is what you lose if you're wrong, right? And it's not the same. You don't lump it up into probability, right? So if you say to yourself, like, okay, there's a very high chance it's going to happen, and I'm going to risk $5, you have not reduced your risk at all, right? Because that is the actual amount that you are going to risk. That's $5. Probability is separate from that. Probability is what are the chances that this is going to be right, but it's important to just note that risk is risk, right? So whether you have a very good chance of something coming in or a very low chance of something coming in, the risk, the actual amount of money that you're putting down, that remains the same. So there's no change in risk, but the probability may be up or down, right? So I hope that little distinction helps. It's something that I have to keep my head cognizant of as well, because I don't want to forget that. I need to remember that. All right, I need to go and grab myself a bit of a coffee. So far, this looks like it's in a good position. It's not exactly flying off in any particular direction, but I think it's in the right place. So I'm just going to go and get a coffee for myself. Yeah, so coffee, always very important for that. All right, so and the other thing, of course, in the trading rules that I had running beforehand is that we always have to look at a potential gain of at least 5%, right? In this case, the that's a rule I didn't actually follow this time around, because I don't think there's a 5% gain in this. This is 3%, this level here. Okay, so that's going to be one that I have to dock myself on. I am trying to aim for a longer target, which is down here, by the way. So that is, I guess, that qualifies as a 6%, 7% goal. But the realistic goal for now, because of the way levels work, is actually this line that it's coming up to, and that's going to be about 3%. So the risk of about 2% for a gain of 3%, that's respectable. And if you think about it in terms of compounding, right, you want to do it over and over and over again. That's how you end up building, right? When you amplify it, if you're going to be wrong by 3% and right by 2 or 3%, if you're down 2% every time you lose, up 5% every time you win, and you compound that, even if a 50-50 kind of thing, you're going to have an account that grows. And again, this is the reminder that I had to give myself, right? It's very easy to get emotional about something and then want to really push it and accelerate it. And I can tell you this to me, this is the hardest part, right? Because at this level, with this account size, I actually can take a lot more positions. There's actually so much more that I can put down on this particular trade, and it's going to increase the risk, right? So that's the challenge. The challenge is not taking the big position because I don't want to expose the account to the risk that comes with that. So far, it's looking good. I like where I like how the trade's looking in terms of where I've got my position. It's a nice entry. So that's one good thing about it. I think what I'm going to do now is I am going to remove the sell limit order that I had. That's the one that basically was waiting for the price to come back up for a bit of a pickup. And the reason why I take it off now is because the price has already moved somewhat, right? And now that the price has moved somewhat, again, when something happens in the opposite direction, that is not what we would say is a great thing, right? Because when the price comes in the opposite direction, once it's moved quite a bit, that's a whole different set of probabilities as well, right? So as has been mentioned before, on the other videos as well, this is my way of journaling my own trading and keeping myself honest, because I know when I'm not being watched or I don't have anybody keeping an eye on me, I can really, really, push and take extremely large risks. Which, I mean, look, I'll be honest. When it works out, it feels fantastic. It's such a great story to tell somebody. You just when you can actually start a day with $100 or even $10, and you can have you can have a position like this. With $10, you can actually have a position 3 times the size that I have right now running. And so theoretically, you could have for $10, take a position like this right now, and if you took it at full tilt, you could have 3 times the return as well currently on the price. And if you think about that kind of power in terms of leverage, it's very tempting, because for $10, just with this little movement right now, you could make $6, right? So that's 60%. That's 60% growth in just a few minutes when you're pushing your leverage at maximum. And if you are supremely lucky, then you walk away with that 60% growth in that short time and you go, hang on, if I just do this a few more times, I am going to be so good, right? And you think, okay, well, maybe I can try and increase the amount of money that I put down. So you open $1,000 account and you try and replicate the same thing and you hit your first loss. And then you realize, oh, wait, hang on. I could lose 60%. I can also maybe lose 60% of that in one move. And instantly you go from a $600, a $1,000 account down to a $400 account. And that changes completely your ability to fight back, right? To get back what has been lost. And that is the challenge. That is a challenge. This is why, as you are trying to build this, as I am trying to build this, I have to just keep an eye on that habit to make sure that I keep my risk low. I don't over leverage, even though I can, right? So to give you an idea, these are the thoughts that are going through my mind right now. Why am I doing this so slowly, right? Because this is not a significant amount of money for me, right? So I could put it all on the line and really go for it. It's going to be really exciting. It's just going to be so fun, right? And especially if you happen to be tuned in at the time, you're going to get a hit of dopamine as well as I lay down a big bet. You're going to go like, oh, let's see what happens here. And if I win, you get the dopamine hit, I get a dopamine hit, and I would have done a bad trade. And I would have won on a bad trade. And that's not a great thing, because when you are doing something like trading, there is this long-term price that you're going to have to pay, right? Which is the compounding of your actions. And when you take too big a risk and you compound that, the likelihood is actually going to be on the downside. So when you take a huge risk, it doesn't take many mistakes or bad outcomes for it to, well, essentially the term that they use in trading is just it ruins you, right? The ruining part is not actually that you get back to zero. So people, and I'll admit that I used to think in terms of ruin that way as well, right? Say, well, if I get ruined, if I get back to zero, I won't get back to zero. There's no point. I definitely won't get back to zero. But that's not the point. The point in ruin is actually that you lose your ability to fight back, right? So, like earlier today, had a couple of trades, and so we're down, based on that situation right now, down 6%, right? Has it ruined me? Has it stopped me from being able to come back from that situation to make up for the loss? Not at all, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to preserve your ability to come back from even the worst loss that you have within your circumstance. I can tell you that if this plays out really well in the long term, it gets more exciting once you get to higher numbers. It's just the way it works, right? So at the very beginning of compounding is when things look really slow and boring. And that's the hard work. What I want to do right now is make sure that my brain is wired hard, right? So it's not hardwired right now, but I'm going to wire it hard, wire it so that I do remember and I can do it. So I might start doing this for Facebook as well. The idea is putting it on YouTube so that there is one source of that streaming going out. Um, yeah, just putting it through more channels might be something that is interesting because you'll figure different things with different channels, right? Different people from different channels have different priorities and different reactions to things. So people on Facebook might feel differently about how this looks, have different curiosities. Um, and I shouldn't be playing to an audience. This is the part that I've been grappling with before, because this idea has been brewing for a while to actually just live stream everything. The challenge with having an audience is there is a tendency to want to perform for the audience. So there's a tendency to want to share, to show and say, look what I did. This is that brilliant move that I did that helped me win, right? And there's so much in me that knows what needs to be done for that kind of feeling to happen. And it's just completely wrong for the trade, right? So what would be exciting for you right now is I looked at my balance and I looked at it and say I have 90 something dollars as the balance, and the price of gold currently is 33.79. I can actually take a full position of 0.27, 0.25 lots, right? Which is 25 times the size of what I've got now, and have a potential to make a pretty significant win as well in relation to the size of the account, right? So if you look currently at this right now, um, the the goal that I have, that red line that is below the price currently, that is a 6% gain, right? That's based on just that very, very small trade that I have. And if I conceptually did this and I increase the bet to 25 times that size, it would be that much more exciting, right? It would be that much more exciting. It would seem to be extremely rewarding, and you start thinking, oh, I can retire, right? Just like this. Um, and it'd be premature. There is a way to do this so that it actually ends up in the right place. It just takes time. It just takes patience. It takes discipline. And these are all very challenging things for me to think about, because I do like the idea of increasing your skill to the point that you're undeniable and you can just use your skill to make something happen, right? And what trading is and what trading isn't is this. What trading is a skill that helps you to position yourself to be in a position where you can make some money, you can be profitable, right? But what it isn't is where it's something where you can control what happens. You can't control what happens. And that's challenging for me. This is me speaking to myself now, because when I'm on stage and I'm speaking, or I'm being an MC or doing something else like that, I am in charge of what's happening. I am influencing what is happening next, right? With trading, it's a bit different. With trading, what it is the skill is to set up the situation, the circumstances, the safety, the risk, so that you have a position, you have the opportunity to, first of all, not damage yourself too much if you're wrong. Right. The idea is to figure out what you think is going to happen next, and then to position yourself for that. Um, and with a reduced amount of risk as well, right? Because that's the game. If I have infinite risk, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up the stop loss so that I can say, like, you know what, I want to just leave all the loss on the table. If I was going to just open it up and say I wanted to be able to take a win based on this, I can take $10 of risk like this is right now. That's going to be $10 of risk. Um, But in terms of probability, it's much more likely that I'm going to be right about this. But the risk on the table is $10, right? And it's something that's not really absolutely necessary, at least in terms of the plan that I have. So what I'm going to do is put this here like that, where the risk is it's a much more palatable 2%, right? I'm still on the same trade, but there is a lower probability of it just going my way because the slightest pullback, well, not the slightest, but a significant enough pullback is going to take my stop out. So that's the little consideration there. How do you make sure that you don't over leverage yourself? Don't position yourself in a way that leaves you with your nether region dangling out of the car, if you like, right? I swear, if you're gonna listen to this channel or watch this channel long enough, you're gonna hear me say a lot more ridiculous things. So, uh, I won't even begin to apologize for some of these because it will get worse. I should actually have this, right? I should have a channel where on the other side of the screen you actually watch paint dry, and then you compare and say which is actually more exciting. Because look, until it happens, that's kind of what this is, right? So what actually has happened, right? Because what we do is we look at what happened before and try and figure out what's going to happen next. What actually has happened right now is the market's doing a bit of consolidating. And whether it retains this pattern or this behavior remains to be seen. But essentially what's going on now, there's definitely this thing here. I can see that happening. But what else is, whoops, yeah, what else is there as well is actually a little bit of that happening too. So this is consolidation here. Right. So that is something that's happening there like that. And I'm going to reduce the size of these lines so that it's not as much of a interruption to your vision. Yeah, so the big theme for me still is at play, but there is a compression going on. So it's not really like free and expressing itself yet. And we're looking for something that's going to go down to the downside, right? The bias for me in the big picture is still on that side of things. But as mentioned earlier, right, the price is always about an excuse to move something in a certain way, in a well motivated way, right? So let's look at something nearby. Previously, like you see what happened up here when there was the price action up here, right? So this is where a previous high was established, right? And then after that, you had this next one, which was a lower high, and then this next one here, where the high was kind of the same level and slightly lower than that as well, right? So what happens in something like that is you can see that there is price action based on the peaks, and in retrospect you can go like, oh, I should have seen that, should have seen that. That's fine. But what also is the reality of the market is there is going to be, despite the fact that the movement in general was going to be down, there is the other movements that happen in between as well, right? So if you get to this point, the price is moving down. Okay, so you go like, hey, price moving down. Yeah, therefore the price should move down all the way. You can see that there's a wick there, so the price actually did move all the way down, right? And if you say the price is going down, well, yeah, it should be going down all the way, but no, it doesn't. What it does is it comes back up, pushes, and pushes all the way up like this, gets to the point here where it gets back again to not quite as high, but it comes into the position where it turns around again, and then you get here, coming down, and again, and in your mind you're going like, oh yes, it's gonna go this way. It doesn't quite do it in that one move, right? So again, comes back up. Again, it gets tested. It gets put through the commitment machine, if you like. So are you really serious about this? And then it comes down. It gets pushed back down like this. And at this point, you are wondering, well, hang on, is it gonna go all the way? Is it not? Because the last time it only went that far. And so it's hard to say exactly how long to hang on to something as well, right? Because if you look at where the price could be, the rational places to actually kind of like cash in, take a profit, is where there's been a price before. That's very, very important as well, right? So that's the idea that we're trying to do. And so positioning yourself for those situations. So where could the price go, for instance, after this? So if you're looking at that, you can see that this is actually not too bad an idea for where this price could go, right? That's one level. There is also, and you can see, and you can see it if you use enough of your imagination, right? And that's the challenge, because you don't want to necessarily use imagination when you're trading. What you want to do is look at evidence. This level here is a possible target in terms of a price as well. And if the price reaches that level, that's going to be kind of cool, right? Will it reach that level? Hard to say. You know, if we talk about forever and ever, yeah, sure, it's going to hit that level at some point. But will it be in this next series of moves? Really, really hard to say, right? Now, do I want to position myself to profit from it? I don't mind. I'm quite open to the idea. So what I'm going to do is probably, if I am live and trading, I am going to move that loss so that move the profit target so that there's a possibility that I can take advantage of that, right? What I should do now is just have a quick look at the rest of this to see whether there's anything else that's shown up that says that the hypothesis or the idea or the thesis is no longer valid. Now the cell looks quite good. It still looks like a good idea. The only thing that's missing right now is any kind of energy that pushes it down. So it's not really been able to break this here. You can see that lots of wicks along the way as well that bring it back up again. So it's, you know, slight downtrend. But the wicks are what I have some concern with, because, you know, it's still showing signs of pushing up. What is encouraging is a series of red candles, right? So despite the push up, you can see that the reds are sort of in, so the sellers are perhaps slightly more in control of the circumstance. But right in the middle of, by the way, this candle, in fact, just at the early part of it. So it's too soon to get terribly excited about this last candle that we see on screen here. Based on what it's been like in the last few times, it's probably either going to be a very small green candle or a small candle with a small body with a bit of a wick. If we get a nice full-bodied, you know, red candle at this point, it might be again a sign that it's worthwhile to take a position here. In the meantime, what I'm going to do yeah, I'm going to put this down here because of what I see on the left side of what's been happening with the price. There's been a push down before. You can see that there. there's been a push down before, so the level kind of has been broken before. So this is that's the jankiest line that you can draw. So this is what's been happening, right? There's a push before that broke a previous low, and what's happened now is it's come back up like this, right? And it has not been able to reach the same levels as before. So it's significantly to me lower than before. So that's a big strong push down. So the energy that's in here in the market so far right now is very much pushing to the downside. So to me, the likelihood that the market can actually push down to this level is pretty convincing. So let's see whether that's something that's going to pay off for us. Now that's at 12%. Trade is beginning to look more like it's coming the way we want it to. And here's where I'm looking to see if I can try to add to the position. Again, adding to the position without increasing the risk. So I need to be careful about how I do this. As the price moves like that, there's a tendency as well for it to come back and do a retest. So I'm not going to take a sell at this particular point because that's not going to be a good way to get in on this. What I'm going to try to do is to see if an opportunity presents itself to take another sell once there's a little bit of a pullback on this as well, right? So if it pulls back and it stays within the range and it's a nice comfortable place to reload and add on some more, I'm going to consider that. But if it does not do that, then what I'll do is just hang on to that one position that we have and see where it goes. Again, the place where we are probably going to see some kind of bounce back is going to be this line here. I'm going to put a line in here and make it a dotted line so that we can see a bit of that. I'm going to make it a nice bright color as well. Is it a bright color? No, that color is the same as the cell. I want to change the color to okay, let's see if that works. A pink line. Right, so there's a tendency for price to just get to where it has previously been before in terms of a level, and you can see that that is going to match up very much with where the price has been. I'm trying to stay out of the way here if you can see that. Yeah, so you can see that price has been there before where the pink line goes, and very likely the price is going to get to that level and bounce away. It's just going to bounce back up again. So I have a sell, and this is the thing, right? Do I do this? Do I hang on, and do I re-up after it bounces, or do I just get in once it's at the level, right? So what's interesting right now is that it hasn't quite hit that target, right? And to me, that's kind of cool because it means that that level means something. The audience, the market has it clocks this level as important, right? So it's significant. This is where the market previously had come up from as well, right? So if you can, I'm not sure if you can see this. Yeah. So this is where the market had previously pushed back up again. And you can see that in the current price, that's kind of showing up as well. The shadow of it showing up in real time. So that line there, just below that, is where the price was. And we're watching to see what happens now, right? So the plan is for me to do two things. One is to have the price just ride through, and if it can, go through it like this, right down to this level of profit, and that would be great. There's also the possibility that this price is going to bounce up a little bit like that. And if it doesn't go too far back and actually gets to a level where it's maybe around like that, to me, that's another great sign that this price is on the way down again, and I could try to add on the pullback like that, right? So the two possibilities. One is that it just currently just takes the ride all the way down and breaks through that level from before, and that could be interesting. It could also break through the level before it does a bit of a pullback, and then do that as well. Those are all the different things it could do. It could, there's a myriad of things. It can do anything because we don't know. We can't tell exactly what everyone's going to do. That's not our job. What we're going to do is try to be in the right position if this or that happens, right? So Thursday is a pretty busy day for this particular household, this particular office, because Thursday is when we do webinars as well for healthy longevity. So if you have seen them, you know that if you know about this, basically, I produce webinars as well. So I make sure that things look good, sound good for my clients. And yeah, so immediately today after this session, I am going to be prepping for the rest of the day. And that includes preparing the videos to be played, intros, yeah, the recordings of speakers as well who have to go into the show, and that's going to be the work for the rest of today. And this particular exercise has been simply to stop me from doing too many things at one time, right? The problem with trading in the usual way is that I could be doing all the rest of the work I was doing and at the same time having the windows open and trading. And that was what I was doing. And I realized that for all the success that I was getting, I was also exposing myself to the bigger failures of it because I wasn't really focused on it when I was doing it. This is different for me already. This is the third day of it. And this is different for me because there's been very few times in the last few months when all I've been doing is trading when I'm trading. And I mean, even now, it's not 100% that all of it is trading, but everything at least I'm doing right now is related to the trading, right? So I'm describing what's happening. I'm talking about the risk. I'm going through the movements, and all of it is linked to it. So welcome to my commitment device. And just a reminder, like everything else on the internet, it shouldn't be regarded as advice to trade. It shouldn't be regarded as financial advice as well. All this is just my reflections going out to myself. This is me journaling, right? I'm supposed to journal. The way it's supposed to be is you're supposed to do your trades on paper, take a screenshot, write down your thoughts about it. And what I'm doing right now with you is this. I'm actually just saying it out like this. There's a recording of it. There's evidence of it. You can see what's going on the screen. And yeah, so the journal is in place, right? If you've just joined the stream right now, right, the beginning of this as well, there was an opportunity to get in with another lot on this particular trade as well, but the price didn't come back enough for me to get in there, and so we're just stuck now with one position. And again, the challenge is to remain grateful. Right? To remain grateful. This is the situation right now. Is that every time you do something, remember and test and check that you're just making the right move, that you have the right plan in place, that the step is correct. And if you are taking the right step and you repeat that, this is going to compound. It is going to get to be a bigger and bigger thing. It's gonna come back and do that. So yeah, welcome to the boring section of the project, day 3 of 100, right? And the other day, I realized what 100 days of trading actually looks like. It's 5 months. And I'll be very honest, there are very few things in my life that I've been actually focused on for 5 months. There is the general way that life works, the way projects move along, and what have you. But I really, really, really usually don't look at things in a 5 month span. I am a 1 day person if I'm looking at pretty big projects. Um, and very often what I deliver is actually delivered in a short span of time. So voiceovers or emceeing. So if it's a voiceover, look, I'm trying to score the win in that 30 seconds or 1 minute that I'm on microphone recording the commercial for somebody, right? So that's very far away from having a 5 month plan. But yes, welcome to the very start of it. And some of the rules that have changed or will change how I am dealing with things. I'm already beginning to get a bit more sleep because I'm trying not to stay available to trading all day, and one should not. And I wasn't allowing myself to do that because I was just constantly aware there's an opportunity to do it. And because no one else was there to watch me take my reckless moves, I was able to get myself in trouble and try and whack my way out of trouble, and get myself further into trouble and then start again because you know what? It didn't matter because nobody else was watching. So this is my commitment device. I'm actually very, very, very good at not worrying what people think. And that's a weakness in some areas of my life. It's great that I don't worry that much about what people think. And the reason why I put this out here on this channel is because I was trying to make myself accountable. I am trying to make myself accountable to the people that I mentor. I have people that I teach to trade, and I keep them on track, and I remind them of what they need to do. And there is this thing that happens when you kind of see the big picture of things, and you go like, you know what, do as I say and not as I do. And for many things in life, that actually is pretty all right because you have a higher perspective on things. You can kind of figure things out. Trading is a little bit different. Trading is it's a very fair sort of situation, right? If you disobey the rules in terms of money management and stuff like that, you will pay the price because math catches up. That's the thing, right? Um, if you take only a few big trades in your life, then the math may not catch up with you because you can you can be lucky. You can be lucky 4 times in a row, right? That happens if you just do coin flips. So some people are like that. They've had that kind of success in life, and maybe what they've done is taken 4 or 5 trades only in their entire life. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, anyone who's bought a house or bought a flat or any kind of property and sold it again or upgraded or moved along the way, right? Where the net worth has grown along the way. What you've done is you've been trading. You've been trading, but it's taken a very long time for each one of those trades. And if we're being honest, there was some luck involved. There was a trend involved, right? If you were investing at the right time in Singapore, as they say, you can't go wrong. You can just buy any kind of property at a reasonable price as long as you're not overpaying for the price. It was going to make you some money, and if you were willing to expose yourself to the risk involved in terms of taking up a loan and stuff like that, you were going to make money, right? And you would have thought, well, clever me. But if you never really understood where you were, some of us actually found ourselves on the wrong side of that. You were taking a trade and you had a significant risk on it, right? Some people had a situation where they bought a property and the market value of the property dropped because the market dropped, right? That happens as well, right? And if you think about what happens when you are invested in a $1 million property and you have a loan for 90% of that. So you have a $900,000 loan. You put $100,000 down. That's good. But you have a loan of $900,000, right? Because they're giving you some leverage to buy the property. And if the property value goes down by 10%, what you have actually got is a property and a situation, a net value of $0 at that point. You've lost all your money, at least on paper, because the property has dropped by that value. And that's the kind of risk that people put themselves at without realizing they're doing it, because the false impression they have is that I'm safely invested in a physical asset. No. If you are leveraged, you are not safely invested in a physical asset. You are actually leveraged into a physical asset, and you can go down by a small drop in that value of the physical asset, as in it can take the rest of your assets down as well because you're leveraged, right? So we may get into leverage somewhere along the way, but for now, we're just going to go back into this and see what the trade is doing. It's actually quite dangerous to be talking to camera because I'm sometimes looking away from the screen so much, and things have moved against me. So pros and cons, right? I've had trades where I think I should have done certain things and then I didn't. And ultimately there's a price for that. So all right, so let's review what's happened here so far. What I like about what's going on is that the price it's broken down here and it's gone down below the pink line. And that's good for us because it's a further signal that the price wants to move down, right? That's one part of it. The question now is going to be about how far this pullback happens as well, right? So we're well positioned on this trade because the sell happened way up here. So it's still a profitable sell trade, and we're well positioned for it. It's about the price going up, price going down a little bit here and there. For that one trade, I think that trade's fine. Now the question is, what can we do now in terms of maybe adding on? Do we want to try and add on to the trade? And I can do that only based on the rules that I set for myself. So the rules that I set myself are, it has to be off a level from before. Conveniently, I must say, there is a level there. So let's move that up there. I'll leave the pink line where it is, but I'll put in another line now. And this is going to be on the M15 line from before, and it's going to be a yellow line. And let's make that a dotted yellow line. All right. And that is going to be based on this turn in the market here. So that's possibly that rule being adhered to. That orange line that's above the price currently as well, those are other levels that are of relevance, right? They're in play. And just so we are clear about what is currently happening is I'm trying to see if I can add on to the position that we have. But I want to do that within the rules of engagement that I had agreed for myself, right? So the rules of engagement are that I will only do it from a level where there is where there's been a major level before, and right now the price is literally in between the levels. So this is a no-go area for me. I'm not supposed to enter a trade anywhere in this area right now because it's a no-go. It's between the levels, and it's a no-go. But right now it is popping back up, coming into range. All right, gonna arm the weapon systems, and the question is whether or not I'm going to enter this trade. Also, what I can do now is that the initial trade, the sell, has actually moved enough for me to go, I can reduce that, I can reduce the risk of this trade right now, so that I can break even or not lose any money when and if the price comes back up against this, right? Because remember, everything does go in waves. But what I need to do is also make sure that I'm not over cranking it, not over. If you strangle a trade and you get too close to it, you push too hard. There's a likelihood it will just push against you and take the stop out before it goes up because you put it just too tight. You didn't give it enough air, right? So that's the combination. And the thinking about this is twofold. One is, do you care, right? Um, you can have a strategy where you say, like, I'm always going to go in there, find an opportunity, exploit the opportunity, and if for some reason I am thrown out of that, I don't care, then that's a possibility as well. So, um, because if you go about your business in such a way that you always look for an opportunity, you get in with a bit of initial risk, and after a while you move it to break even, and the worst that happens to you most times is that you don't make any money, but you don't lose money. That's also a strategy that can make sense. It actually can take you across the line simply because you have been watching your risk. You have reduced your risk as soon as you're able to, and that's a good thing. All right. So what I'm seeing right now is the price, the energy that was pushing it back up again in the retrace, that seems to have dissipated somewhat. There are a few things here that in combination right now causing a little bit of concern for me, and these are that and this is actually the situation here. Like, this low and this low are actually about the same level, and that is, even though it's quite far apart, it is technically kind of a double bottom signal, and I want to watch for that to see where that happens and see whether it generates a lot of power. This is a buy signal, right? About the double bottom, um, and what I see from the latest bit here is that it actually pushed up and then it did not really follow through. And now there's a new candle that's being formed as well. We'll see what that candle looks like. Back onto the ones. So that's just by itself a very strong signal there. It's an engulfing candle. So that says a reversal. You know, the price went up and said, oh, nope, it's going to go down. Possible place to add on to the trade, but with some risk. I like where it's positioned, right? Where it is there. It's actually on a line, which again is another thing that's good about the situation, right? So it's off and on a line where the price was debated before. If it holds, there's a case to be made. Maybe a sell. We'll see. So there's also the danger of actually looking a little too close at the pattern and really trying to see a pattern where maybe not enough has been given to you, right? So like in this case here, you can actually see that there is a little bit of a pattern already that says reversal, right? There's the engulfing bear candle and then a following bear candle as well. Is that enough to go on? Yes and no, right? Because this could be just a very small movement that the market's showing you. And this because again, it's a 1 minute chart. So when you make a 1 minute chart look big, it can look like a very significant bit of data, but you really have to put it, you really have to right size it in a sense in your mind and go like, okay, so that's all it is. It's a small little blip in what's going on. Maybe there's not enough information for us to take any action here. So what I would be doing if I'm trying to take any action in terms of doing a bit of a sell here, which I'm trying to do actually, if I can add on a sell, is I would look for a confirmation that this is really going to be a push down, right? The good reasons for it right now to push down because it's actually at the right level. It's also on trend, right? The trend actually has been pushing down, so it's pushing down, and now it would be on trend for that to happen. But we want to see something else that gives us reason to believe that that is what is happening. So we would like to see, for instance, something like this, where there's a double top, a series of tops like that, a series like that, where that top is really confirmed. So what I would like to see is something like this, and maybe it comes up like that, shows you signs like that, and maybe I would get into the sell there. But until then, it's just a bit risky to get in here, right? And the thing that happens all the time is you kick yourself, right? Because it obviously, sometimes is going to be the right level, but you don't get to have what you want because it it um it sometimes just goes with just the one touch. And that's the way it goes, right? And that just wasn't going to be the trade that you're going to catch on to because it wasn't available to your strategy, right? So again, the strategy that we're on is to try to get in as little risk as possible, um, as much gain as we can on top of that risk, and to multiply that and compound it. So I am looking for a little bit more of a sign of a lower high at this particular stage, right? So I'm looking for something, maybe a lower high, something here where it goes from a green to red, where it turns back down or something like that. Something in this area here that would be a reason to get in on it. And when it comes to adding to a trade as well, you got to think about whether or not, if you didn't have another trade on, whether or not this would be something you'd be considering. And if the answer is yes, then you're in a good space. If it is just because you have another position, then that's not a real good reason to open a second trade. So again, what's happening here is nothing. So I'll just wait. We have a few more minutes before I'm going to have to get to the other work. So let's hope that this trade pans out in that time. It's just so tempting to get in here, just to sell again. And the problem would be at this point, if I did that, what I would be doing is taking another position where the risk of the trade currently, and because I can't change the quantum much of the risk at the beginning here, because it's a small account level, so I can't change the risk level. I can't right size the risk as I'm going into or considering getting into something like this, right? Because right now, if I do consider taking a sell here, the real risk on this is like 200 points. And what that would mean in combination with the previous trade is that if I'm wrong with that, I lose the profits that I'm in currently. and then I take on the additional loss of this risk as well. Right. So if this thing comes back up again, just gives me a little bit more of a reason to invest in the sell, because it's coming to me at a cheap price. I would do that, right? But it would have to have a couple of interesting traits. It has to, first of all, I think it would have to honor this level, right? It would have to be a push down that's below that level, and it has to be a significant push down as well. It has to be one of these clear indications that it has reached the top of a move and it couldn't quite go any further up. So that might work. Of course, what we're seeing right now is a little bit of what looks like a natural drop anyways, and like there doesn't seem to be much in terms of energy for the market to push back up and go for it, right? Now, what's tantalizing right now is the sense that, okay, I want to go in there, I want to grab hold of it. It's moving, it's moving, it's moving. I'm losing the chance. What I am reminding myself to do right now is to look out, because there's almost always something that happens when a market really wants to push off a level, and that's what they call a retest, right? So there's a very good chance. Well, I'd say very good. I'm going to say there's a less than zero chance. Okay, there's a more than zero chance. That's the right way of saying it. That there will be a retest, right? That this price will currently, where it is right now, is going to come up back to that major line, that level there, and just touch the price before it begins to make its move, which in the play that I have in mind is going to be a push down, right? And I think that's not an impossibility. And as you can see, the way the trade's moving right now, it's still looking very promising, right? It's looking like it's going in the right direction. Yeah. So let's see. Will there be a retest? Right. So it's important to see this as well, right? So on the fives, you can see that there's been a bit more of a maturation of the trade. There is the price has gone up here, and it has actually come down. There's two candles where the price has come down and kind of like consolidated that push down. So here right now is what I think is gonna possibly be where there'll be a little bit of a retest, right? So this is where if the price comes up just very quickly and pops up, there's that opportunity, there's that likelihood that it's going to push off, right? Now the challenge is, as it comes up, do I want to kind of grab that because it's an expected behavior? The right answer is no. But there's a part of me that wants to set up a little trap here and says, okay, the price might just pop up here for a bit before it goes down. And do I want to be part of that? And I don't know. It's tempting, but I think I'll have to pass on that. It's not within the rules. Let me see now. Is it will it be in the rules? No, it's still within the range. So trading this way does have its drawbacks, in the sense that because I'm not cranking up the risk, I'm not also gonna pull in huge rewards on taking the risk, right? So in some of my earlier days, I've had days where my um, first day of trading, right, first few hours of trading on an account, has returned 12 times, right, 12x on an account. And it really, really feels glorious. It feels like you can do anything, right? Because then you don't have to work anymore. You don't have to care about anything else. Um, and that's again done without the recognition or understanding that yes, there is risk involved, and if you don't see it correctly, there's a risk you're not seeing, right? Okay, so let me just do this now and be aware of what looks like might be a sign or signal to me. Uh, this is the market almost like it's snarling and saying that okay, we're moving up, right? So there is there is a signal here that does actually tell you that the price is going through a little bit of upward pressure. Again, this is about levels, right? So levels higher, higher, and higher. So there's a little bit of upward pressure right now. So it's not a zero possibility that the price is going to push up, right? So at this point, I wouldn't be looking at a sell unless I get a clear signal of a push down. I might also get out of the trade that I have earlier, which is the sell from higher up, if this is going to prove to be a concerted move, right? If this move has conviction, right, then we will most definitely have to adjust our position against it. But I think right now we're at, because it's on the line, we're going to be having to decide what we're going to do with this. We're going to stay in the trade um, with the sell from earlier on, or do we get out? Or if confirmation shows up suddenly right now that this is a sell for sure, then I might add on, if it's within the rules of the trade of the risk, add on another position as well, right? So that's the thing now. It's pushing up. There's a little bit of pattern, a little bit of signs of moving up. Question is, will it break through? And the answer might be no, right? And it's about positioning ourselves for that. So we want to see what the market's going to do and be patient enough for the candles to print as well. It's only 1 minute anyway, right? So it's let the minutes end, see what is truly evident, right, from those signals. So I am looking at this now from a calculations perspective. Do I want to add in something here? So at this point, if I were to add a trade, net, I would be more or less looking at a zero loss situation. But do I feel that it is a good position? Not quite yet. So not much point in doing that. So yeah, it's just as moments ago when it was just slightly higher up, right? If I were to take a sell at that particular point, what I'd be doing is I'd be investing more in the sell story. But the context is what else has been going on as well, right? So far there's been a bit of a trade. Price has moved a little bit. There is the bird in the hand, so to speak, right? And what I could do, if I were to add on another position right now, is I am risking the bird in the hand for the opportunity of having two birds. This will be, unfortunately, as the words came out, I went like, okay, I should not say that, but yeah, okay, that's what I did anyway. So yeah, it's risking the bird in the hand to have the two, right? And that is the challenge here. We'll see what the structure looks like. I'm looking at it at a different time scale on my phone as well, and that doesn't look too bad. So I'll just share that view with you as well. As a whole separate trade, this looks like it may have some legs. If the 5-minute chart right now throws up this kind of situation, the where the next red candle, the next candle closes as a red at an equal or bigger size than the green that's next to it right now, that's a reasonable sign that this market is going to be heading down, right? Because in combination with everything else that's happened just before that, there's the movement this way, there's the breakdown this way, and then there's the retest that comes up this way, and it hasn't really pushed much harder than that. So it really, really hints at the next move down here. So prepared to have a look at that. If the candle is significantly larger, that's going to be kind of like a big red yes button. If it's not fully engulfed, it's also not a complete no, because at the top of this is kind of a double top as well. So that's not too bad. Let's see. Could it be? Could it be? Yeah, let's have a look at the details. Yeah, this sort of satisfies the idea. So if it doesn't come back all the way up, I think I could try to position myself for this. Um, I want to say I like this enough, but am I being picky enough? I think I need to be a bit pickier than that, right? But I like this enough because there's it's diminishing, it's getting smaller. The feeling is like it's going down, and two things happen at the end of this, right? Either it breaks out and breaks down hard, or it does a little bit of this as well, which is like kind of futzing around and doing a bit of a last gasp. So let's see. You have to respect all the stories that are happening at the same time, right? So stories right now in the small trends, there is still that resistance. It is trying to get, its way, but I think it's just lost it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in a sell here. It's just the way this looks right now, where it doesn't seem to have kept its spirit of trying to go back up again, right? So it seems to have lost its fervor for that. I'm going to put the stop loss here, right? And that's 2% risk on this particular trade. And I don't know whether it's going to be covered. Oh, I think it will be covered by the. Okay, I'm going to. The other position right now, it literally covers it, so that this is a zero risk trade currently. I haven't given much room for the trade to go in the opposite direction. As in, like, I haven't pulled back much to take additional risk, and let me just discuss that with myself for a while, see whether I want to do that, right? Because currently, right now, this is going to be, it's a doubled position with zero risk, and that is also something that's quite nice, right? So double the position, zero risk. That sounds like a really good return. So what I'll do is I'll do that. I'm gonna go with that, knowing that if there is a pullback, I get to a zero loss position, and I will have some regret with that because it could well be that the market will still move in the direction and it gets taken out. But that'll be what I have to get used to. And this is the thing that I'm having to work with getting used to is it's just a trade. When the trade happens and the trade result, that's all it is. It's a result of a trade. And I want to put together as many good trades as possible. And I'm going to be saying this so many times to myself. And if you hear it often, because you're watching this channel as well, it's about the compounding effect. Do it right, do it often, so that what's good about it is going to compound, and what's bad about it, because it's a smaller component, will also compound, but to a lesser extent. And it's that relative level of compounding. So one of the things that was interesting for me when I looked at the I was trying to do the calculations of what could be done, right? I was thinking to myself, how do I make this calculation? If it goes up by this amount and it's going to be growing by this amount, if it comes down and goes by this amount, and then it'd be up, down, down, up, whatever it is in that level, going back and forth. And then it became clear to me that the math is actually a lot simpler. The math is very simply going to be about the number of times the positive happens versus the number of times the negative happens. So it's just going to be to the power of that, right? So if a win is a 10% growth and that happens 50 times, then all you do is you just put that calculation in, and it's going to be 1.1. That's 1.1 to the power of 50. That's the factor at which the account will grow. And then at the same time, if your losses are going to be 25%, whatever it is, that's a factor that you have to put in as well. And if you think that's going to happen also 50 times in a row, or 50 times at all, then it's just 0.75 to the power of 50. And that gives you in total the outcome of 100 trades. And that actually has simplified things for me, because it used to be I was thinking, okay, if I do this here and then that happens and whatever happens, it actually doesn't matter, because as long as you can position yourself in such a way that your wins are going to be a source of growth by a certain factor, right, versus your losses at a certain factor, and you can increase the probability of that happening, you're on your way, right? And either two, just making some progress, which is actually what most people struggle to do. Most people in trading, more than 95%, I think the number is, of people actually lose in the markets. And I got to be really honest with you. I have been on the right side of that, as in winning and making money, until I do the stuff that stupidly brings me back onto the other side. So I'm not one of those guys who's like just always, like just without luck and losing and whatever. So I'm not in that category, but I'm in the category of winning, doing well, getting to the big numbers, and then doing stupid things because something goes wrong at that level, right? And that big thing is always going to be this for me. Might be different for anybody else who's watching, right? The big thing is when you are at bigger profits, bigger levels, and you're taking a big risk, right? You've got to be prepared for what it feels like to lose that money at that level. Now, whether you've actually expanded your risk or not, it doesn't matter, because if you have a $100,000 account and you're taking a 2% risk, right? What that means is the price of being wrong is $2,000. Now, of course, if you have $100,000, it feels like $2,000 isn't going to be that big a deal. But I can tell you that it does make a difference to how you feel about things, because you can be doing really well, have an entire year's worth of income just come in, and you're still going to think, do I really want that iPhone, for instance, this model of iPhone or that model of iPhone? You're still going to be thinking about the relative prices in between, and it's an exploration, because you have to think about it in terms of, as a percentage, it really shouldn't bother you at all, right? Because it's a small amount. But in real terms, I'm still getting used to the idea of large sums of money, right? Um, Conceptually, we've had success before where we've had a lot of money as well. Um, and conceptually, just getting a sense of how I feel about a larger sum of money when it's being lost in a trade. I've got to get used to that. I got to get my head around that, and it's been a lot of work. I've been actually thinking a lot about that, because I realize that when it comes to something like even trying to get a deal, a discount, right? I'm working so hard to get $30 off, $50 off, $5 off. Um, because it makes a difference, and because it's some significance to me, and it's part of the game as well, and I have to try to take that and incorporate it to how I trade, and that's the challenging part. So yeah, I should actually put a sign on this and just says like and subscribe, right? just just let me know this is going okay. Just like, it's not that big a vote, right? If you're gonna be in, just like, that's nice. I am just having a quick look here. An update on the current situation: two trades open. Worst case scenario, it's break even. Um, Best case scenario at this point, I think we could see a growth of the account by 15-20%. That sounds crazy, right? Let's see what that number is there. $12, 12 and 8. Yeah, that's 20%. So I'm going to do a reality check right now and see this in the grand context of things, and see whether it still seems to hold water, right? That's always about testing testing a thesis. Make sure that it's still on the right track. Looks like it's on the right track, and so far it does look like it's on the right track. This is looking at the M30, which is the 30-minute chart. The H1 chart, that looks pretty decent as well. We have a double confirmation now of a downtrend, so we are looking good. Okay, just in terms of position, right? Let's not get overconfident yet. Looking good though. I'm gonna do right now is just do a little bit of checking on social media. This is my it's the idea that I should at least get some work done, right, while this is happening, because I don't really have to stay and watch all this all the time. I don't know about you, but I spend very, very little time now on Facebook. And so every now and then I'll see a message that tells me someone's tried to reach out to me like 6 months ago. So we'll see, man. This is going to be something.
So the plan is to set up a brand new YouTube channel.
Okay, sorry, that's me checking in on a post, and that played the video as well. It's actually really nice. A lot of support has been coming on this particular project. People do want to see you succeed. That's one of the things that has been really refreshing about, you know, in general, right? It's very easy. When I was setting up this, I was actually concerned about uh, putting myself out there and taking a big risk with it. But it's what I had to do, so I did. And yeah, like I said, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice that the response has been good. It's been supportive. So yeah, and I know as this is at the beginning of its life, um, and I know as I say thank you, I'm saying thank you to very few people, but thank you very much. If you just came here, you found this part, you're actually going to be watching this bit, but this is about 2 hours in, so this is real serious commitment, right? If you catch up to this point, um, yeah, so that's been fantastic. So, um, but as I am trying to get people to do right, just like the channel, subscribe to the channel, so that you get alerts when I'm starting to do a live trade, and you liking it just lets people know that okay, it kind of works, and maybe more people can hop on board and gain something from it. I'm hoping that is the result of it. Um, I again just want to restate, it's not me telling you exactly what you need to do. You need to figure out what you need to do. I'm just sharing you know, what I can. Here we go. Just realized I have to do some follow-up on some of the things as well. Ah. Mm. Here are the bag. No. So yeah, the I kept thinking about things like this as in like what happens when you is there a way to figure a way to help myself remember it more, maybe everybody else as well. Like that you remember the old show Heroes, where save the cheerleaders, save the world, right? And that was interesting how that can become somewhat of a way to make sure that you do the right thing, figure out what the action that needs to be done often is done, and just do it, right? So as somebody said on my socials, where I talked about what's been happening, and say that I've been breaking the rules, and so that's been costing me. The suggestion that came in was, well, just don't break the rules. Thank you very much. But that's right. Uh, yeah, so I want to try and do that. I want to try and make sure that I am adding value to you if you're spending any time with me here, right? That's the exchange. Because what you're doing is you're helping me by being here. Just the fact that you are here, whether it's real time or not, the fact that you're here actually makes a difference to me, because it means that there are footprints that I'm leaving in the sand. And like I said, this is a 5-month project, right? 100 trading days is it's about 5 months, including holidays and stuff. Um, so it's no mean feat, as they say. And just the fact that you do drop in, check it out, that kind of thing, that's important as well. So in order for that to be something that's again sort of viable long term, I don't know what's going to come out of this as well. But if you would like the video, that would be helpful. Just give me a like. It isn't about your expression about what you think about what I'm doing. It's just saying, okay, what support. It's a bit of support, right? And if you'd like to subscribe as well, because subscribing means that it'll tell you that I'm going live whenever I am. This channel will likely be only about going live, right? As I say that though, I'm realizing that I might add some other content to this channel that might be helpful if anybody's trying to figure out what it is that I'm trying to do. I might start doing things on the channel which are not live, which are going to be about, I guess, teaching. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, because the idea of this channel is supposed to be an accountability channel for myself. It is supposed to be for my own consumption, and actually, technically, not for anybody else, right? So that is the definition of my own consumption. But anyway, it is self-serving with a chance that you're going to enjoy it and learn something from it. So that is the benefit. That's what I kind of like about the deal that I'm striking with you. Yeah. So back to what's happening with the trade. I'm going to ask now, because I can. My mentor was checking in on me, which is another thing that's kind of good about putting this thing out there. He can just, you know, you just turn on the channel and check, right? So I am having a bit of a chat online right now regarding a comment from before. And I think earlier on what I was discussing is what I want to do with the trade, as in, did I want to add on to the trade? And my mentor said, secure the bag. So I'm trying to get some clarification on what it means right now. I think what it means is just go with what you have, right? As in the bird in the hand, as they say, is worth two in the bush. That it should be really obvious, but I think that's what he means. Okay. Mm. Okay. So it's really something quite lucky for me that I actually have mentorship, right? So someone is actually helping me achieve my goals as well. Someone who's already moving forward and doing it and has done it before. So all I'm doing is trying to hear and trying to hear and trying to add here, right? Hear the advice, listen to the advice, follow the rules. Um, so that is the challenge that I am also figuring out for myself. The idea of just saying, how do you submit to something and say that this is the way it is supposed to be, right? And because there's something about how we feel about things as well, the natural things that we feel about things, like I want to do this myself, you know. If you it's a very natural thing for children to just want to do something themselves. They learn They learn how to paint, for instance, and then at that point, they don't want you to take the brush from them and paint for them. They want to do it themselves. So that's something that I'm kind of experiencing myself as well, because my mentor is saying just do this, and I literally have just replied to him, but right, and that's the thing that I have to try and avoid. It's the thing, right? So let's see how we go here. Ah, okay. So yeah, I'm going to take that advice. This is the advice currently, which is take what's take what's available. There's no need to take on additional risk. What initial move happened and whatever the market gave you initially, that's a good return. And that's okay. It should be enough, right? No need to belabor it and try to win in the face of that. Okay. But let me just say, but what I'm going to do now is let this play out a little bit. Why? Because right now we're in a position where we have a sell, right? And why I'm still in on this right now is because the little details that seem to be in support of the situation is this set of lows which continue to be a set of highs which continue to be on a downward trend. So still, I would say a sense that this is has somewhere to go. Whether it can go all the way and way past to our target that we have way below there, that remains to be seen. But for now, the viable target that is within range is actually the end of this, the bottom of the previous low, right? So that's where that is right now. The pink line is what the market has shown you before. It's tested that line 2 times, right? So there's a credible amount of suggestion that that is going to be a line that will be respected, and I have to take that into account. And basically, what the evidence that suggests that is, if you look at what happened here before the price came down, it had a nice push, but it was actually fought back at this level. So to think that it's going to go down and just make it through security, it's probably not the best thought out thing. So let's see whether we can do that or not. Again, challenge is to try to not worry about it not being a glorious, sort of a win. It's not a insignificant, right? If we can get that win, it's great. So yes, without adding too much more risk, I am staying in this to see where it goes. I think there is going to be just a little bit more of a pushback up again, but it may not be concerted because it's been slammed down just recently as well. And we'll see. We'll see. I think there is resistance for it to come all the way down. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. So I'm going to listen to what the market seems to be saying right now, and I'm just going to talk it through and more or less close it, right? So what's happened so far is there is a kind of a push down happening, right? Let me agree on that. There was this really big candle that pushed it down, pushed it hard, right? But what happened instead of it going all the way down like this is that it seems to have had a bit of resistance as well, still pushing back up and still going up. So it's pause for concern. And I just want to see right now what happens in these following candles. If it renews its gumption, if you like, to push down, and if that is coming in, that's great. But if after we've had this big push down like that, this big candle like that, if after that had a big push down, and the market doesn't push down, then what I am going to be concerned about is that the market's is turning around, because it's not, it's shown you a sign, right? Big sign that it's going to sell, but then it doesn't follow through. It just means that there is a force that is coming back, a real counter to that move, that is threatening or possibly going to get in the way of your position. So I'm going to just have a bigger look at this, right? So I can see that in context. And you can tell the story, right? So the story is literally one of a battle for the price, battle for the control. The bigger trend has been a bit of a push down. This has been a bit of a push up that way. It's tried to do that. It gets slammed down. And instead of going all the way down like that, it still had a bit of a fight as well, right? So if you look just below here, there's another clue to what's been going on, and that is the volume at that particular place. So there was a fight involved. A lot of contracts changed hands, right, at that particular point. So that tells you a little bit about something about the market, as in, like, yeah, there was a fight, and the conclusion of it is a push down, right? Now, it should have caused the momentum to fly completely in that direction, but it didn't do that. It actually bounced back a little bit. And now what's happened so far is this. It has expressed this, and then now we have a lower high as well. This combination makes me feel confident that what's coming up is a bunch of downward moves as well, just because the momentum has been confirmed, right? This first move with the broad participation in the market, because a lot of volume there, and the momentum now seems to be moving down. The market's tried to come back up again. It's failed, and it seems to be on its way down now, to see whether it manages to get past this magic level, right? Now, why am I calling it a magic level? It's because this is what happened before, right? That is a big push down, and then it couldn't get past it. It came back up again. That echo, if you like, the echo of that particular move is still going to resonate currently, right? So what you're seeing at this very moment, where the price has come down to the same level and it's being pushed back up again, that's the echo of what happened here before, right? There's a big push down. Price didn't just go down all the way. It came back up again. So this is now the echo of that sort of here. But the overwhelming story seems to be this and this. And so we're going to work on the rest of that to happen, yeah? Oh, man. Okay. Okay, so this could be a favorable end to the day, which is kind of nice. Okay. So this is the way life is supposed to happen, really, for me in terms of trading. I'm supposed to be, I guess, focused on what the trading work is, but at the same time, life is supposed to go on. So I'm on the phone right now with a client trying to solve a problem for them, and that's what trading actually allows you to do because what you're doing on the charts is it's waiting for things to happen, waiting for things to mature or show itself, whatever it is. And if you're waiting on the twitches and stuff like that, then it's going to be very hard to do anything else. But because what we're doing is a bit different, we're not playing that game. We get to live a life while the trading happens, right? Now I know that as you may be watching this at this point, if you've just listen, I don't even know whether you ever get to this point because this video is so long and there's so little that happens along the way. You might not even see this bit of it here, but um, you should be trying to think about this and trying to think about trading as an opportunity that can sit alongside what it is that you're trying to do in your life as well, in your business, whatever it is. If you can figure out some ways to have some gaps where you can try to exploit the opportunities in the market, a bit of time, a bit of attention on a regular basis, you can do this. The proof actually is that there are always going to be opportunities. They're going to happen all the time. There is, whether or not it will happen every time you open up your computer at the time you choose, that's something that we can't really have that much control of. But at any time there is going to be, signs of opportunities coming up. So that the rule of the rule, it's actually a fact of statistics, right? If there are always going to be a certain number of opportunities, and at any time you open up your computer, there is going to be a certain chance that confluence is going to happen, right? It may not happen every time, but the fact will be that it will happen. The fact, in fact, that is going to be that the improbability is that if you open up your computer randomly at whenever, that you do not see an opportunity at some of those times, that's a near impossibility, simply because if you think about opportunity this way in the market, at every moment, think of ideal setups, those nice setups, think of them as mines, right? And if you just know that these mines are going to be showing up in the market every now and then, so there's kind of a negative positive thinking here, right? You would then realize that it's going to be very hard for you to get into the situation where you're not going to hit the mines. And if that's something that you're going to agree with from a negative perspective, then you also have to think about it from a positive perspective, right? The truth is, if you just pop in every now and then, watching out for it, the chances that you will come across an opportunity, right, one of those mines, is high, right? Not each time you open up, but because you do that, again, your probability stacks up in your favor. So that's the thinking again behind action, good action taken often, right? And that really something that I have to also remind myself all the time, because I have to go like, is this an opportunity? And I've got to stop thinking in terms of this is going to be the last chance I'm going to have, right? That's what has made me stay up late, just looking for one more chance, seeing how I can do this, because that sense that this is going to be the last chance I'm going to have, it's something that we have to get rid of. It's not true, right? Every single time, if I look back to trading opportunities or investment opportunities where I felt that I had missed it, what would have been more productive for me would have been to go like, yes, I missed it, but this is not the last chance I'm going to have, right? And so for me, I've often talked about my non-investment in Apple, right? As much as I've been a fan of the company, I've not been a stock owner, never been. And some of that was because I had the sense that, I've missed the chance, that time when that opportunity happened, that it's gone, right? And almost every time, if I had not thought that and just said, oh, okay, well, you've missed this opportunity, and what you have to do is look for the next. And I did, and I took action with the next one. I can legitimately say that I would be better off today than I would have been than I am right now, because I did not take those opportunities. But every time I was convinced, it's too late now. Nah, no point, don't do it. It's okay, can't. I missed it, right? And that's happened for me in so many ways. Apple, Bitcoin. Oh man. And again, that has to do with making an investment that is the right size of investment, right? When you make an investment that you can afford, um, understanding that it's for the long term, recognizing that if you put $1,000 away today, you would forget about it. You wouldn't actually even think about it again, because it would have disappeared. It would have evaporated, right? And the proof of that is very simple. If you look around your house, you probably got some equipment that has it's been around for a long time. You spent a bit too much money on it, and you haven't used it, and you haven't really felt that terrible about the fact that you haven't used it. No, it's just something that you didn't end up using. Yeah. So I'm looking at the market right now, and I'm just going to do this right now. It's not moving in the direction that I want it to. So I am going to just call it and close the trade. It's not been the outcome that I wanted, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it a little bit of a chance right now to see what happens, right? So what it's doing right now, what it's showing signs of doing right now, is a little bit of a reversal, and I'm going to pay the price for it. I'm pretty sure, right? This is it. It's going like this. It's going higher. It's pushing up, and now it's gone above the level. It's going to push up like that. It's testing this level, and my hope is that it doesn't pass the test. It gets slammed down. And if it does, we stay in there, and we can have a bit of a party. But what is likely to happen is that it's just going to show me that this market hasn't got that conviction to push down as much as I had hoped. It's still showing signs. It's not conclusive, right? So this is the thing about this. It's not conclusive. It's still retaining that structure. But if this doesn't begin to show absolute conviction to the downside, then I have to go, okay, nice try, good game, right? So yeah, right now that first candle, or the most recent candle there, you can see that wick, again telling you a little bit of a story, right? It's tried to push up, didn't quite make it, but it hasn't quite given up yet. Right now, it's started on a new attempt, right? That magical level that it's trying to break is this level here. That's where the previous price, I guess you can call it the peak, but that's the price that we are looking at. We want to see what this market's going to do versus that price. If it does get past it, it pushes up and stays up, then it's the end of that era, right? The small little era where the price has been pushing down, and to me, that's another thing that I'm trying to train myself to do, which is to just take whatever's there, and say, okay, that's a win, right? So right now, if that closes up, that's the end of that story. It's a win, but not as big a win that I want to. But it's also not as risky as before, where I put the rest of the trade on hold as well. It still technically hasn't canceled itself. So we'll just wait, see. So anyone who's ever said, why don't they broadcast trading? I think this stream actually answers it, because it's the worst game to watch. I don't think you can ever do it right, unless of course you can figure a way to make some commentary happen, meaningful commentary, right? There is commentary that doesn't need to be made, that it's out there right now. Oh man, this is it. This ain't good. Okay. So yeah, that push there. Let's see. That's the retest, or it is basically the blowing up of the trade. Let's see. Does it stay up? I think it might. Okay. That line above that, that's the big hard line. That's the one that is the big daddy of it all. And it's the line on which this trade has been based. If it no longer holds water, then it's time for that to close. And let's have a look at that. So what's happening on screen right now, if you can see that blue, is I've actually got the trade up, ready to close it, and I'm trying to see what the energy is around the price. Does it have any conviction beyond this point? Like I said, you can see it's green arrows or green candles, but they have wicks on top, which kind of indicate the kind of a push that is happening as well. I'm looking at the chart from a 5-minute perspective, and I'm not necessarily loving it. But yeah, it's always about seeing what happens with the end of that period as well, right? To see what the actual candle looks like. But yeah, no, not gonna lie, this is not ideal. It looks like it's being challenged. Looks like it's interested to make history, as it were, right? Another green candle, and right now trying to breach the line. The volume of trading is not so huge, which at this point there's nothing to be too secure about, because those big moves happen usually in the last few seconds of the time as well, in the period, right? So this is the 1-minute chart with 20 seconds to go, and people who have their fingers on huge buy buttons, huge amounts, are going to be doing what they can to win their game, right? So in these few seconds here is when prices might move up and down, shift up and down. Again, the price hasn't settled above that line, so that is why we're still in this trade at all. I'm aware of my own desire to win, right? So this sense of wanting to win is so strong right now, and I don't want to give up this particular trade right now, because I really, really still want to win. And it's based on the single trade, and it seems to make sense in my mind as well that I can win this trade, right? And to give you a sense of what we are, where we're situated right now, is if you look at that red line above there, that sell, that stop loss line, that's actually the break. It's a break even line that corresponds to the two trades that are on currently. I got one trade, which you can see the green line of, that's the entry on screen right now. And above that is where I have the entry of the previous trade, right? So this trade, this is the entry that I had earlier, which I would suggest is a pretty decent entry. That was a good entry up there. Oh, hang on, that's a stop loss. I beg your pardon, wrong one. This here, this is the entry earlier. I managed to get an entry up there, and currently the price is where it is. The stop loss for that earlier entry is actually here. So the worst case in that scenario for that particular trade is I make money. But I'm open the second trade as well, which is here, and this is a sell, and that currently is losing money because the price is above my entry point. And where I positioned the stop loss for both trades is actually here, where in total, the total value is going to be zero, as in like I'll make money and I'll lose money on that trade, and that leaves me with $0, right? So that $0 profit. So that's neither a loss nor a win. And the argument would be that after all that time, to not walk away with any profit is a loss, right? Because I have successfully worked for 2 hours, 3 hours to earn nothing. So that's not great in terms of return, and it's a valid way of looking at things as well. It's not the only way to look at things, but it's one of the ways to consider whether or not you're doing the right thing in life. Ask yourself, how much time am I doing? Am I spending doing this, and how much am I getting out of it? And if that value isn't really good, then you just go, okay, you know what? That's not the best use of my time. So I am getting ready again to close the trade if this turns out to be what it might turn out to be. If it comes out and it gets above that line, it breaches, then I will have to just put it down to the misadventure that it is, right? It didn't really quite make it. Right now, the story is sitting right on the edge of two things happening, right? It could still be the valid trade that I was going for, which is the sell. And it could also be right now the change in the trend, as in like an official change in the trend. You can see that there was a bit of a move already before in that direction. So this is looking like kind of it. This is going to be the end of the road, as it were, because if it comes up, it comes up. If it goes down, it goes down. And it's coming up to a price as well, which is interesting because it's just at a nice round number, 33.75. And round numbers are always a place where big market moves happen as well. So in both directions. So don't, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to move in your favor. You just know that at a significant level, there's going to be some market movement, and it may go up, it may go down, but there's going to be something happening there. So, and it's right on the line, right? Okay. Okay. All right, so the tricky bit now is I'm doing a little bit of work as well for a client. So I am not watching absolutely the screen all the time. But it is looking a little promising now in terms of where it's going to. So the win is still possible. Hmm. So what's kind of a bummer is the fact that this is the situation that we're facing right now in this particular choice. So decision-wise, it's going to be, I won't say paralysis, but it's just going to be one of those things where you go like, it could go either way, right? And this is where we're at the top of this range here. And on the M5s, you can see that the history has been, this is the top of the level. So let me just put this on the screen here. So this level here is kind of where things are going right now, right? So it's almost like this level has held, and I think it's probably not going to give way to what I wanted to do. I thought the rejection candle, the red candle, might be a sign of something happening in my favor. It might not. Let's just see where it goes. So let's bring this in, bring it closer. Yeah, very likely it's just going to take it out. And if it does, c'est la vie, it's the end of that little foray for a very, very slight profit. Nothing meaningful at all. It's just a little bit of a little bit of self-respect, if you like. But if this holds and it pushes down, great. If it does not, then it's okay. We are going to break even on this trade, make a little bit of a profit. Not the best use of time today, but there's other work to do as well. And that is the stuff that is it is going to be it's providing the funds that allow this to happen as well. So it is interconnected. So to get that work done as well. So I'm looking now to do some shopping. To see what's going on. Oh my goodness. And just like that, when you're not watching, it's where all the fireworks happens. And then you go, do you want to stay in like that? Do I just stay where this price is going right now? Or do I push it to the next level where it could go? That is a terrible thing, right? Where is it going? Where I think it could go is actually the low that it had this morning, right? That's down there. That's tempting because it's a nicer number than what we have now. Okay, let's have a look. Is it going to make it all the way? Is it being rejected? And will it happen all in just a few seconds, right? That's the thing. It always feels like it's going to be the big one. Actually, and the number is significant as well because 3370. So it's probably going to want to get to that level and probably will hit that level and probably will clear that level. The question is, do we want to try to extend the run for the next price as well? And this is the conundrum, right? You have, again, what you have already in hand. It looks like it's in the right place. It looks like it has made a good enough try. And it's at the lower limit of how fast it can push. And at the same time, there is also the fact that the momentum of what we've just seen is a push down like that as well. Quite a strong push. It usually has a little bit of energy left in it, right? And what we're trying to do is see, okay, where do we go with this? Is it going to go all the way? Is it going to hold up or not? This energy that's holding this thing up like that, it actually is, it's like a last gasp, right? If you think about it, because if I look at what's going on, I'm actually going to move this down to here because when I look at the big picture of this, it's quite clear that this is a strong attack on the price. It's quite clear that it's trying to push down like that. So the chances that it will succeed, I am going to say, is rather high because it's coming back, and as it's been rejected, it hasn't gone all the way up as well. So I'll say that on with this on this as well. So this has come down, 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 down. It's pushed down and then it's gone up, and it hasn't really been able to make new highs. It's still pushing like that, and now it's coming down again. So the chances that it's going to be able to breach this, I'm going to say, is quite high. I think it's going to reach at least the low of the day. So that's where I place the target, the profit target for this particular trade. And the chances that it will go on beyond that, I think it's actually quite high. But I'm gonna go at what I can see, right? What I can see in front of me, and what I can see in front of me currently is a price that actually is around here. What I'm tempted to do is talk about where it's likely to run to as well. I think, which is down here. This is the next other price that could happen. So let's see this play out. I think this is a very viable target. This first level here is a very viable target. Let's see how that plays out. We've just seen a pretty big, strong push up in the price, so that might interfere with our dreams and hopes. Let's see now. Let's see now. Yeah, that's the argument. That's always going to be the argument, right? Who has the last laugh on everything? that last gasp by the candle, and this is the thing about the market, right? It's always going to have that. Okay, that's the thing there. We saw that push. That is a very strong push. It is either a retracement, which means that it's just clearing its throat before it really pushes hard and pushes down, or it's a complete rejection, right? Which is a whole different deal altogether, right? We position ourselves so that the worst case scenario is we don't lose money, right? It's going to be an even deal on the trade. So that's the deal that we have cut for ourselves. I am looking at this right now and the structure that's happened here. I'm just going to watch how this next candle kind of forms up. If it confirms it's going to keep going up, I think it's time to just say, okay, this trade hasn't worked out. It has pushed out. It tried to push down quite hard. It didn't quite go anywhere. It got pushed back again, got rejected, right? So, okay, tell you what. Let's just leave the stops where they are and leave the targets where they are and see how this pans out a little later on today. So that's the, I'm going to say, the end of the session. We're gonna look for new opportunities, if any, in the next round. Okay, this has not pushed that down that well, which is a pity. So I can't. Let me see. Yeah, this is really something that it tells you that there is a strong resistance at, at this low price here. That 33.70 is something of a price that somebody is very interested in protecting, right? So that's the price there, and I can see that on the mark. I can see that on the chart as well. So I think what I'm going to do is trying to take an elegant way out like this. Is in like the price is probably gonna, it's going to push down a little bit more, just towards the entry point, and then what we'll do is we'll close out, because it's not going to be something we can control. We can only control for what we are positioned in relative to it. It's pushing up like this, so I think we're just about out. Let me see. One more candle. The line I like, I think, I can't remember who it was who came up with the line, but basically when you're negotiating over the plastic spoons like a heroin addict, that's when you are in trouble. And sometimes it does feel like it. It's just like negotiating over what to do with this over the smallest amount. Because at this point right now, again, at the early stages of where we are, it's really the principle of things that I'm arguing over, whether or not I want to take a $2 loss. I want to just make only $3 profit versus make $0. And if you step back and go like, that's not even an argument worth handling, right? It's crazy, right? But it's the principle of it. So just a reminder to self, because this is exactly what happened. Where that price action went before, completely predictable in terms of what we've been learning and training about, right? So this price here before, right? This is, like I said, this is the price. And where this price went to, just about there, exactly there. And that was a predictable outcome. Could have been out nicely there, made a bit of a tidy profit. No big news, nothing to write home about, but that would have been already in the money. So now it's just not maturing, I guess. The investment isn't maturing, so unfortunately that's where it's going to go. There's a bit of downward pressure you can see from the wicks right now on the 1 minute chart, but it's not convincing to me. So it's going to try again to get to the level and most likely, unfortunately, succeed and take us out. I will leave it to the market forces to take us out. As in, like, I will leave it because I'm okay fundamentally with the idea that this trade turned out to be even Stevens. It's not a profit, but you know. Hmm. Okay, sorry, I'm just doing some other stuff here, so my brain's kind of in two parts, and I do have to take a little toilet break, so I'm gonna do that. Yo. Back again. I don't know. I had Eminem playing in the background. I don't know why. Yeah. Yes, he's back. Back again. Yep. So there you go. So this was the retest. The price coming back up again. So this is. Let me just use the arrow so I can talk about what's going on here. Yep. So that price came down here, pushed down like that. And then this is again where the market makers, right? These are the people who are going to shake everybody out. They're going to push things back up like that again. So that basically plays out this way. It's a retest, and when you see that that level doesn't quite test the end of that, it doesn't want to break. They don't want to break the structure. That is usually some is a good sign for the continuation of that initial move, because it has the momentum there. So we'll see. It looks like the sell is still in. We still have our positions. And again, the only thing that I would say to take note of right now is it hasn't gone back to the high, but it also hasn't gone back to the low, as it hasn't gone all the way down as well. So what's happened is not conclusive, right? Conclusive would have been if it passed and went out of the zone. That would be conclusive for me. But currently, what's there is this little mini range as well that's happening for what can happen next. And the biggest challenge really for me is always about sitting on my hands. Technically speaking, what that means is just not doing anything, just sitting there watching to see what happens. Um, this has been significant because already my number of trades, just the number of trades that I put down, has actually um, decreased, right? So normally when you look at my chart, there's just dots everywhere, just all over the place. There'll be trades where I've gone in, come out, gone in, come out, whatever it is. And just for an early start to the day like this, where, you know, it's been, I'm going to see how long of streaming now. It's been quite a while. Yeah, so 3.5 hours streaming. For me to have only 4 trades that have actually happened, that is pretty significant. It actually is a lot lower number than usual. So in terms of performance, in terms of just the kind of noise that I've been playing around with before, it has settled down quite a bit as well. So like the music that I have at the start of this that talks about slow it down, slow down, that's already something that has worked, and I'm gonna have to put that down into the ledger as something that is positive and has worked out well for me. So I'm happy about that. I'm just gonna watch and see what's happening now in terms of the price here as well, whether it's actually done any kind of consolidation. There's always this thing about just moving back, consolidating, moving back. So there's a price move, consolidation. It's about cleaning up almost, right? As you make a small trail of destruction, you got to go back and clean a little bit of it so that it moves forward. Right now, it looks indecisive, really, to be honest. It hasn't really told me exactly where it wants to go. And you know, while it looked good for a while, and then it seems to be not going back. There is a little bit of a story that seems to be encouraging. So I just want to look at that story and explore the validity of it, right? And that story really is one where their engulfing candles are coming in here. Let me just get rid of that as well. So we have the engulfing candles. We have the levels. First of all, this level is the same, or the high anyway is roughly the same as the previous ones. Then we have this lower sort of peak as well, where there's an engulfing bear candle as well that formed that. So that gives me the sense that this thing is on the way down. It's pretty strong that it's still on the way down, and we are reasonably positioned in the midst of all this, because the worst case scenario now is the price comes back up, and if it exceeds this shape, this sell, this what looks like a sell condition, we can just get out and we can actually make some money. It won't be profit, but we'll make some money. It will be profit, but it won't be big profit, right? So the sell actually, honestly, still looks like it's in. And the question is whether we can make it out of here with a little bit more cash. It'd be fun if we did. And I hope as you're watching this, you kind of realize, and you know what, I'm not the most exciting trader you can follow. I can tell you that there are other traders where there's more money on the line all the time, and it's more challenging, it's more risky. The idea of them being able to grow their pot, there's definitely an upside because of the kind of risks that they're taking with that, with their entries. But at the same time, there's also this, right, which is like trying to be responsible at scale, right? And this is the part that's really challenging for me, and why I'm actually pleased that this is only an accountability channel and not a channel where I'm trying to do a show about trading. Because if it was a show about trading, technically what I had to do is make it more exciting. And by trying to do that, it would probably mean that I'd be taking slightly more flamboyant trades, right? Where I go like, yeah, this is looking good. I want to do a double up. I want to add some more stuff to this right now. Like for instance, at this particular point, right? At this particular point, there is, depending on the kind of profile that I had, there is something in here that I might do in terms of taking an additional sell and layering on some more risk and trying to position myself for what looks like a move to the downside, right? And it would look nice, it would feel nice, and it could potentially, you know, mature very nicely and, you know, be good for the ego and all that kind of stuff. But I would know that it's fundamentally wrong from a risk perspective. And that is the challenge. So the challenge is to not do something performative, but to actually just do it the right way or responsibly, so that it makes sense in service of the mission, if you like, right? So that there is a big mission. The mission is for it to get to that highest level of success, highest level of significance, so that we can enjoy that together, right? So now it's testing that previous level, that high where there was an engulfing move on the downside earlier, right? We're feeling the echoes of the price on this side. Let's see whether or not it has the same sort of force, because this is a big Thor's hammer throwdown, right? If you look at the size of it, there was two of these in a row, right? So there was that one there, right? Huge engulfing candle against the green. This one as well, again at a lower value. So now we're coming back to this level again. I'm going to see what actually does happen with the price, right? Is it going to be something similar in terms of a push back down again, right? So this was somebody's big Thor's hammer, right? They threw it down, and it happened once, it happened twice. And now the question is, what's going to happen around here, right? Will we see the same thing happening? Now, I'm thinking yes, but again, we're only halfway through the candle right now, so we don't know for sure. We never do. As you can see, right, even though we had that, we also had this, which was a big reply in the opposite direction. So there's a war going on. There's a fight, going on for the price, right? There are people who are interested in seeing this price go up, and in a big way. They're pushing up, and there are big push downs as well happening at the same time, and these are in conflict. And in the end, we're always going to try and figure out where it goes. Sometimes it's equilibrium, and that means that the price sort of settles somewhere in between and doesn't really move for a while. And that's sometimes where people are most comfortable to end the trade, because it's kind of a stalemate, but no one actually loses money, right? Because the sellers have got a lower price to buy back at, the buyers have a higher price to sell at, so that kind of stalemate kind of works. But yeah, I'm looking to see where this this goes. Not quite as big an action on the sells that we had the previous time. And we'll see whether or not this manages to close below this line or this area here, because if it does, and it's a good sign. So it's closed as red. It hasn't closed below, so it's still not quite the confirmation we're looking at ultimately for the downturn. What I mean by closing is below that level is this is the level. This is the level where there was a engulfing bull before. So it's a significant up move. And if there is a close below that level, what it means is that this engulfing bull, as it were, has been broken, right? And so that's a significant move for the market, as in like it had something that was very big before, but if it exceeds it and crushes it or destroys it or whatever it is, then it's a significant move, right? So like right now, if this candle that's currently forming closes in the way it does, right, it would have quite decisively broken and has decisively broken that previous level. So now that sense that it's going down is really, really strong now. The confirmation is high. The fight's over. And so there's momentum as it pushes down. And now it's coming to the next level, which is the fight that happened here, right? So this is the level where it pushed up very strongly as well before. Price is coming down here. The question is what's going to happen now as it comes back into the same area as well. So what we can do is we can decide that, okay, it's doing pretty well. It's pushing there. Let's just get out at this point because it's pushing against a closed door. It could push and actually open the door and push all the way through, right? But what is on the table right now is a reasonably strong fight down to this level, and we don't know what else is going to happen now. That's all we know. Little things here that make this interesting. These gaps, right? The gaps that are between the candles, that is something that indicates that there is real pressure on the price pushing down, right? Because when there are no gaps, it just means the price has hands over to the next time frame. The gap means that there actually is a little bit more pressure on the price going down, so much so that when the next candle starts, it actually misses a few cents and actually moves on to the next price. So that's where this is looking very strong right now. So overall, it's looking more favorable for the sell. If you look at it from a 5-minute perspective, I think you can see as well that strength is showing up. Now the question is where this candle is going to close. If this candle currently that's on the screen closes, you know, all it has to do is close below this line, and that's a good sign. But the size of this candle and the way it closes right now could be a very massive statement on the state of affairs, right? Big push down, and whether or not it will go all the way. We're looking for an exit for one of the trades at the low of the day. So this is what the price came, how the price began this morning. It's right here. That is here, right? And the next low that I have, that's the next price target I had actually is somewhere near the bottom of yesterday. So if we can get there as well, would be quite fun. And the reason why the case for the bottom being possible is simply that the price action overall, again, we look at the big picture, is one where there has been a move down. So this is the price action so far. Overnight, there's been a move down. It's pushed down, breaking the previous lows for a long time. And then it's pushed back up like this. And then there's a massive rejection of that. And that's pushing a bit of momentum in this direction. And so that could very much so drive the price significantly as well, because this could be a major move. And the possibility is beyond all of this here, right? But what we're doing is we're trading only for what we can see and what we've seen before, right? So that's why our targets that we've set for now are all based on what has already happened, including what's happened earlier this morning and the like. So this is what's happened so far. Oh man, the price has come down right down to the line like that. This is This is one of the situations where you're gonna go, okay, hang on, let's go. All right, so that's taken the first profit target. That was at the low of this morning. All right. And you can see there's momentum going through as well. It's pushing through, pushing through, pushing through. Is it gonna make it all the way here? It may not. And I get to decide whether or not I want to stay in the trade. I don't have to, right? If I see that there is, for instance, no real reason, credible reason to stay in, then I won't. But right now, if I look at reasons to get out as well, there seems to be very little in terms of where the next level is, right? So the next level actually that I can see on this is actually way down here, and my profit target is set above that. So actually, it's a reasonable kind of target, right? Because it's based on all the evidence so far. It's a reasonable expectation that this is going to work. I'm going to move my stop loss so that there's absolutely no loss involved in this trade anymore. And based on what's been happening, so this is about looking at the past, right? The price action in the past. Let me just see where that is. Okay, so price action in the past leading up to where the target is. So this is the target price. So this is the target price that I have right now, right? And if you look at the price action in the past on the way up, you can see there's no real sort of impediments along the way for this price to come down. So once it clears this little area here, it's very likely it's going to push down. Look at that go. And there's actually quite a bit of energy in this, so it looks like it may even push beyond that point. And that's where the temptation right now is to go in there and just change my take profit, move it down a little bit more, make a bit more money. Because it'll be easy, right? But let's just do that. Take that. And you can see a little bit there. We've managed to grow the account, which is great. And that's going to be the end of this session. I think that's all we have to do. So let's have a quick little review of what we did today. And whether or not it's valid, that's going to be the thing that we're going to have to review also again. Me with myself, and then maybe with my mentor as well. So how I read the market today and how I saw it happen was from what happened yesterday, right? So from overnight, we had a situation where there was actually a challenge in terms of the price from before as well. I'm going to make this smaller so that we can tell that story. All right, so this is what happened yesterday, right? So last night, what I saw yesterday was a price that was coming up, pushing up, pushing up, pushing up, pushing up, and pushing up against that level there, right? And despite all that push on the upside, what we saw was when the numbers came out, was a push that went down to the downside and really pushed down. And I wasn't trading at this time. This is something that I looked at in the morning, and I saw what had happened. The price had gone down, pushed down to a low like this, and significantly it had broken below the lows of a day and a half, right? So it's a whole 2 days almost of lows that the price had never been below. And that's significant because that is kind of like opening the door, right? It's like, okay, this is the way it's gonna have. We're opening the door to the downside. Now, it doesn't just run that way. It comes back up and it pulls back up into it as well. And so it pulled back like this. And when it pulled back, what's significant about this is it pulled back and did not pull all the way and stay in the higher position. It actually came up all the way. If you look at this wick here, so this little line there is where the price actually had gone up to before it shot down, and it was actually pushed down very hard, right? So again, with the story of the highs and then the lower highs and the lower highs, and then now the lower high, this is very significant, right? And that gave it into the story of the downward trend, right? It's still going in as like now it's pushing down. And then what we have here on screen is actually the most recent action that happened, right? So this is what we were playing with earlier. Looking first of all at the price pushing down within this area. It hadn't really broken out, and then it confirmed by pushing down like this. Then it went down, and then did what you call a retrace, which is coming back up again. And then it took a while before it finally moved down, right? And significantly, if you look at the details of this as well, this is about where there's always a strong action that comes from retesting, right? So what's retesting? Retesting is when a price comes back to the line, comes back to the price where it started before it makes the big run in the opposite direction, and you see that evidence here. That is where that line, all the reds are showing a price that is moving down, and then this big wick is actually the sign of a price that goes back up there again just to test what's happening. So you see that like that in here as well, right? So the price is moving generally down like that, and then there's a test. Price goes down like that, and then there's a test again, and then it goes down like that. So that's what's happening so far. I am not going to chase the market right now, even though I have a strong temptation to. I need to move on to the next thing, and I will. And if there is time to do another session today, then I will do that. But for now, I am just going to leave this as it is. Just so you know as well, if you're talking about chasing the market right now, there isn't much point to it because it is an expensive time to do it, right? Meaning that if I were to chase the market right now, it would be a sell. And if I'm going to sell, and if you look at it versus the level that's here, what is likely to happen, just because we've seen it happen over and over again, is the market is going to move back up like that again. And if I do a sell at this point, I'm actually exposing myself to a lot of risk because the potential move in the market is going to be quite large. So no point chasing at this point. What I'm going to look for, if anything, and if I was going to be looking at this market, is I'm going to wait for the price to find whatever level it does, and then it's going to try and make a pullback. And I would be interested in the pullback to watch very carefully where the pullback goes to before I take a position that follows the trend, right? So that's where I am. We're closing down the stream for today, and at least for now. If there's time later on tonight, maybe I'll come back. But for now, this is it. So a little bit of a gain, so that's not too bad. Balance of 111, so that's growth today of about 10%. It puts us behind schedule because we're supposed to be already at what is it, 121, I think? 121 or bigger, I'm not sure, but we're now at 111, so we're behind schedule, but still in positive territory, which is not too bad, really. So I'm going to take that, not as a full win, but as an okay situation. So, yeah, that's it for me.